Hi friends, Jennifer here with Jen Open Hearts, and this week what's been softening my heart is really reflecting on our recent trip to the Great Smoky Mountains and leaning into trust. So I'll just preface first by saying my husband and I went on a 3-week vacation to the Smoky Mountains in our vintage truck camper. And it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful, wonderful place of the United States. And it's in one of the oldest, most ancient mountain ranges in the country for sure. I'm not sure about the world scope, but it's phenomenal. And especially when you go there in the springtime, you can see all these beautiful ephemeral wildflowers come up. So springtime is like this essence of rebirth, of growth, of growing. And what happens is the trees above in the canopy don't quite have the leaves, so more and more sun is hitting the forest floor. And because of that, there's this very small window where all these incredible magic spring wildflowers just blossom in it. I think we counted over 20 species, but I know there is more. I'm not an avid flower person, but I love nature, of course, and just being in the wilderness is such a blessing, a cleansing, a sweet retreat for the body, mind, and spirit. And so what happened is my husband and I were hiking on this pretty difficult trail. It was a challenging one. It was really rocky. It was like 8 miles total. And there was a moment where we were both feeling tired. And so we sat down. And you know, when you're going on hikes, your mind is kind of cleansing. You're thinking about things. You're understanding your world, right? That's why I think it's so healing, is we just have this time to really sift through and filter through all the things that might be going on in our sweet little monkey mind. So it was really this moment of just sitting, and I was having like my own internal struggle of something, you know, just like not understanding the right next step or something like that. And so as we sat, I looked over and there was a stick sitting in the ground and it said, "Trust yourself." And I thought, okay, wow, like that's so beautiful and so precious to receive that message, because, you know, there's a lot of noise out there, and literally there's a lot of noise because people are mowing their lawns right now. But there's a lot of noise, and then there's signal. And this is something that my husband and I talk about a lot, is just like, you know, we have our own internal compass. And even if I frame it through the system of human design, it's all about like our own inner trust, our own inner GPS. Knowing what is true for me might not be true for you, and that's okay. We're both valid. We're both living our own realities, enjoying our own reality. And if we learn to clear away the clutter or all this buzz of noise, we can come back to our own true essence and know what is right for me, what is exciting to me, what is fascinating to me, what do I want, what do I need, what is in my big, beautiful, giant wish list of wants and needs that I have in this lifetime for myself. And it's just challenging because sometimes we can hear a lot of noise from other things, right? It can be many, many things. It can be family, it can be society, it can be friends, it can be past versions of ourselves, right? That's all the noise. And then there's the signal. And the signal to me is like this trust. Like, so how can I trust what is true for me? How can I clear away the noise and the clutter? How can I come back into this state of really accepting myself and my reality as it currently is? And even if we look at the system of human design, like if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, you're really meant to move and act from the gut. Like we call it the gut, but it's the sacral center. And it's all about this kind of deep yes. Like it's an internal yes. You don't always know why, but you just feel it. You feel excited. And that's the word that I like to use for generators and manifesting generators, is like, is it exciting to you? Like, do you feel this immediate yes? And if you don't feel that, then it's probably a no, or you need more time. And so just getting back to our own internal truths, it's really cool to use systems like human design because it helps people step deeper into their own awareness. I like to talk about human design as an awareness language. And by that, I mean just like a system or a tool that helps us have greater clarity over ourselves and our experience, how we see the world, what are some predetermined traits and essences that we might be carrying with us in this lifetime. And so, for example, like for a projector, they're really meant to be deeply fascinated. If there's like this deep fascination, those are the sort of, not wormholes, the rabbit holes that they should be following regardless of what others might think. And even for manifesting generators, their paths are going to be very multidimensional. They're going to be doing many, many different things, and outside standards in society might not understand that. So it's really important for people to recognize what is true for me. What is true for me, again, might not be true for you. And so if any of those resonated with you, I'll be curious if you look up your human design and you realize, oh, I am a generator. Okay, I am excited by this. This is something I want to do. And what's cool with generators is that they'll get this internal, like, ooh, like they'll make a sound, they'll be excited, they'll kind of move towards it. And if they're not excited, it's kind of like this crunching of the face, or ooh, like a sound that they'll make as well. So it's like getting out of the mind. The mind is a super useful tool. It's incredible. It helps us conceptualize our world, analyze, weigh out the pros and cons, research, all these things. It's really wonderful. But again, it's just a tool that goes in the toolbox. And so why I love this system of human design is because it teaches us to get back into the body and to listen to these different internal bodily impulses / ways of making decisions. We can call it intuition, right? The different types of intuition. And so for myself, I'm what's called an ego manifester. And so the ego is all about the heart, the will center. It's all about, do I want it or do I not want it? I have to speak about it to hear myself, to hear if I'm excited about it. So there's like all these really beautiful nuances that the human design system gives us to help us understand ourselves and our paths, our energy, right? Our aura, the impression that we bring to any situation, but also how we're meant to make decisions. So the way that I'm meant to make decisions might not be the same as my partner or my friend or my mom. And so it's just a really cool system that helps us have a lot more grace and compassion for those around us. And that's why I love it so much. It really is this deep, beautiful awareness language that teaches us to trust ourselves, to trust our spirit, to trust our body, whatever you want to call it. But I think the really important part of the path of kind of understanding your human design is to really sit with yourself, recognize and understand what is true for you. Once you find out your design type, you can look up your authority or how you're meant to make decisions and just ask, like, is this true for me? Does this make sense for me? Is this a system that I want to play with, that I want to experiment with? And that's what we call the human design system, is like this great experimentation, the human design experimentation, because our lives are, you know, the sum of all of our past experiences and perhaps of our past life experiences, if you believe that sort of thing. But it's really, really interesting when you start to just use it as this tool, as this awareness system that says, this is true for me in this moment. It wasn't true for me in the past, and that's okay. This person might be a different energy type, and so I can hold grace for them. I can hold compassion for them, because I shouldn't expect everyone to move and be the same way that I am, to have the same energetic abundance, right? If you're a generator or a manifesting generator, you're like 70% of the population. And so what happens with these two energy types that are kind of grouped together is that essentially a manifesting generator or a generator wakes up and they have a full battery. They have to go through that entire battery, and the battery can be movement, it can be work, it can be all these things that create satisfaction. And if they don't do that, they get fidgety. But essentially, these are energy types that have a lot of energy. They're like, ooh, I can't wait to get started. I love my job. I want to take care of this. I want to be the super mom, all this stuff. Like, I want to be a part of everything. And then there's other energy types that we call non-sacral. And so these are the manifestors, the projectors, and the reflectors. And so these energy types don't have that abundance of a battery. They have some energy coming from different energy centers, but essentially, these are the energy types that need a little bit more rest, that need a little bit more introspection. And I mention this just because it might help someone out there have a little bit more grace for someone who's in your life who might not have the same mentality, right? The same work ethic, the same patterns of doing things, right? We have to kind of hold space and say, okay, this is true for me. It's probably not true for them, because if it were, they might be acting on it. So it's just really super interesting to think about And again, like I said, it really helps me have more grace for people around me, because as a manifestor, I'm here to initiate, I'm here to spark, I'm here to start, to do all these things and to kind of dip my toes in different waters, ignite that passion or that project, and then I'm meant to kind of whoosh, get out of there. But it also means that I become like this catalytic agent that starts things and gets people together and makes things happen. And not everybody has that. Like, for example, my mom is a projector, and she kind of likes to go into her own cocoon, which is wonderful. It's beautiful. She gets a lot of healing from that space. But I know as a manifestor, like, she's probably not going to invite me because she maybe doesn't feel like it or something. And I can't take that personally. I just have to be like, oh, she's a projector. Let me see how I can activate her in some way. Hey, let's hang out. I'd love to see you. Here's some options of things we could do. Do any of these like fascinate you or make you want to hang out? So human design is super cool. If you've never heard of it, definitely check it out. Check out your human design chart, your body graph, and you can look that up at myhumandesign.com. If you're interested in a reading or any sort of offerings that I may have, check out my website, jenopenhearts.com. I would love to share more information. I've written a ton of articles on my blog, and you can also sign up for my newsletter where I'm sharing little tips and tricks and insights related to human design, relating to holistic health and wellness, and all these facets that have really essentially opened my heart and have offered me a lot of love on my path. So that's my mission. That's what I'm here to do, just planting tiny little seeds of love along the path. I hope it inspires you to do the same in whatever way feels right to you. If you feel inclined, please leave a comment and share what your energy type is. I'll be more than excited to connect with you on that, and wishing you a beautiful day today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.